This is Pastor Dave. Thank you for visiting the YouTube channel, The Essential Truth. We're still building, as you can see behind me, the studio where we're going to be doing the podcast very soon. And by the time this video is posted, hopefully it'll all be done. But we're working towards it. I thought I'd take a quick break and grab my Bible and just do a quick video on 1 Corinthians chapter 3, which is the Bema Seat Judgment. And it's 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 11 through 15. Also, we're not going to look at this passage right now, but the great white throne judgment is Revelation chapter 20, also in verses 11 through 15. The difference between those two judgments, the great white throne in Revelation, will be for all non-believers. And they will stand before God and they'll give an account for everything they've ever done, everything they've ever thought. And ultimately, that passage says that they're cast into the lake of fire, those that don't know Jesus Christ. That's the great white throne recorded in Revelation. That's for all non-believers. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, what we call the Bema Seat Judgment, is for all believers. And you might be watching thinking, now wait a minute, I didn't know that believers had to stand before God in judgment. Well, we don't stand before him and answer for our sins. Jesus paid the penalty for that on the cross of Calvary. But we do have to stand before him and give an account for what we did with that free gift of salvation. He says in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11, "For no other foundation can be laid except that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ." In other words, you've put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ for your salvation. That's the foundation. There isn't any other foundation. Like Jesus said in John 14:6, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." So if you've put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, and you've truly, sincerely done that, and there's a change in your life, then you are saved. But we're still going to give an account to him for what we did with that free gift of salvation in terms of how we built upon it. He says in verse 12, "Now if any man build upon this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall test every man's work of what sort it is." So the wording there is pretty clear. God's going to test our works with fire. Not us, but our works. In other words, to see if there's any value in the things that we've built upon the foundation of our salvation. And he uses 6 different building materials described there: gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, and stubble. You don't have to be a genius to know if you apply fire to wood, hay, and stubble, what's going to happen. It's going to burn up fast. And a lot of times you see, big piles of haystacks, and, we spend a lot of time building with these things. May not necessarily be bad things, but they don't have any eternal reward or value to them. And gold, silver, and precious stones, I'm not an expert, but I've read where if you apply fire to them, they become more valuable, especially like with gold and silver. It melts away, the fire melts away what's called the dross, which are the impurities or imperfections, and makes what remains more valuable. So he's going to apply this fire to our works to see what sort of work they are. He says in verse 14, "If any man's work abide, which he has built upon it, he shall receive a reward." And verse 15, "If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet as by fire." As I said, everybody at this judgment in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, the Bema judgment, they're saved because they've put their faith in Jesus. They've laid that foundation, which is faith in Jesus Christ. But we can add to it. We can build upon it. And when he applies that fire of judgment to our works to determine, is there anything left over of value that he can reward us for, then you'll know at that point when it's too late, boy, I probably should have spent more time doing this or that. And I spent entirely too much time doing those activities that had no eternal reward. They couldn't pass the test. I told our folks a few weeks ago, the church that I pastor, I said, you can sit down and you can evaluate when you do something. Is this something that would pass the fire test? Is this something that would have anything of value to it when you apply fire to it? If it's wood, hay, and stubble, the answer is no. If it's gold, silver, precious stones, of course, it will be more valuable and you'll receive reward. I don't know exactly what the reward when we stand before Jesus is going to look like. Nobody really does until we stand before him. But I can tell you, we can figure out those things that we do in our life that do have eternal reward, like, witnessing to others, spending time in prayer, reading our Bibles, going to church, helping other people. I think those are things that would fall under the gold, silver, precious stones. That's not an exhaustive list, but just some of those things. And then a lot of the things that we do that we waste our time, again, not necessarily bad things, but they would very easily fall under the wood, hay, and stubble category. So I want to hear Jesus say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant," one of these days, and I hope you do too. So I hope this short video has been a blessing to you. Pass it on to somebody, share with somebody you think might be encouraged by it, especially if they're a believer, just to remind us of the importance of building upon that foundation of our salvation in Jesus Christ. And please like the video, make comments. I would appreciate that. Share with someone, as I said, and subscribe. That really does help the channel, and it lets us know that you appreciate these videos that I hope are gold, silver, precious stones. Long after I'm gone, if the Lord tarries, these things will remain, and hopefully they can add fruit for many years to come. But you have a blessed day. Thank you so much. This is Pastor Dave, and I appreciate you visiting the Essential Truth YouTube channel.